Welcome back to the library, everyone. Today, our tale takes us into the depths of World of Warcraft's history. We're going to uncover the secrets of Mulgore. Situated in the heart of central Kalimdor, Mulgore's lush green plains serve as the ancestral homeland of the Honourable Tauren. Surrounded by the towering Stone Talon Mountains to the north, this landlocked territory shares borders with several prominent regions in Azeroth, including Desolus, Feralus, Dustwallow Marsh, and the Barrens. A striking feature of this picturesque terrain are the lofty cliffs of Thunder Bluff, looming majestically over the surrounding fields at the very heart of the zone. Mulgore stands as a serene haven, cradled within a tranquil valley embraced by towering mountains on every side. However, beneath its exterior lie tales of turmoil and strife, narratives that we shall delve into in this very tale. The tale of Mulgore reaches back to a distant past, preceding the cataclysmic events of the Great Sundering when the Night Elves held dominion over the ancient lands of Kalimdor. These elves, devout followers of the Lord of the Forest, a revered druidic demigod named Cenarius. While the exact origins of this demigod remain veiled in mystery, his legendary stature demands acknowledgement in our narrative today. In the intricate lore of ancient Tauren mythology, it is believed that the Earth Mother, an ethereal and immortal entity of profound significance, bestowed upon the ancestors of the Tauren the gift of hunting prowess. Among their prey was Aparo, the elusive white stag, known also as the ancient guardian Malorn. Driven by their pursuit, the Tauren ancestors relentlessly hunted Malorn across the expanse of Azeroth until the stag sought refuge in the heavens, where his majestic antlers became entwined among the stars. Legend holds that the moon goddess Elune took notice of the stag, and upon aiding him, she found herself captivated by his presence. Their union resulted in the birth of a demigod, Cenarius. Though Cenarius was born of Elune, she entrusted him to Malorn, recognizing that he belonged to the mortal realm. Thus, Cenarius, a being of both sky and earth, came into the care of the stag. His emergence reverberated through the Emerald Dream, prompting the green dragon aspect, Ysera, to take him under her wing, guiding him through the verdant splendour of Azeroth's wilds. Cenarius, imbued with a profound connection to the natural world and its creatures, devoted his life to safeguarding the balance of nature and nurturing the lands he called home. Among the creatures that thrived in the plains of central Kalimdor under Cenarius' watchful gaze were the Yaungol, beings who shared in the abundance of the land alongside their guardian and mentor. Between 12,200 and 12,000 years prior to the opening of the Dark Portal, the robust Yaungol race inhabited central Kalimdor. However, discontent brewed among the Yaungol as they found themselves forced to share their hunting grounds with neighbouring trolls. Against Cenarius' counsel, they embarked southward in pursuit of unclaimed territory, eventually encountering the borders of the formidable Mogu Empire. Under the rule of the merciless Mogu Emperor, Xiang, the Yaungol was subjected to enhancements by flesh shapers, augmenting their strength, ferocity, and intellect. The vastness of the Mogu Empire's history warrants its own extensive recounting, but the Yaungol endured generations of oppression until they joined a collective revolt and contributed to the Empire's downfall. Upon regaining their freedom, the Yaungol found themselves adrift, their cultural heritage eroded by Mogu decrees prohibiting the preservation of oral traditions. Some of them clung on to the fragmented tales of Cenarius' benevolence, while others sought to forge a new path by sheer force of will. Amidst these divisions, many Yaungol migrated northward, while others opted to remain in their adopted lands. A third faction returned to central Kalimdor, where they were reunited with Cenarius. Those who chose to study under Cenarius embraced the teachings of druidic magic, attuning themselves to the rhythms of the natural world. Conversely, others delved into the mastery of shamanism. The arcane energies emanating from the Well of Eternity catalyzed a transformation among these central Yaungol, birthing a new lineage of bovine creatures known as the Tauren. Over time, these Tauren splintered into various tribes and dispersed across the lands. It wasn't until the dragon mage Corielstras persuaded the High Mountain Tauren to align themselves with the Night Elves and other races in the fight against the Burning Legion during the War of the Ancients. The Tauren proved invaluable allies during this pivotal conflict. Following the conclusion of the War of the Ancients and the cataclysmic events of the Great Sundering, which shattered the supercontinent of Kalimdor, 80% of its landmass was submerged beneath the vast sea, isolating certain Tauren tribes from one another. In the aftermath of this upheaval, surviving Tauren continued their tranquil existence within the central regions of the now fragmented and diminished continent of Kalimdor. Legend has it that the Tauren roamed the forest and the plains of Kalimdor, living in symbiosis with nature for thousands of years. One such peaceful expanse being the plains we know today as Mulgore. For years, the Tauren dwelled in tranquility upon the sprawling plains of Kalimdor, up until a formidable adversary emerged from the neighbouring lands. Among these neighbouring territories lay one particularly revered region, the lush grasslands of Masha-an-Shi, known in our language as the Loom of the Earth Mother. Drawn by subtle elemental murmurs, the Tauren came to believe that beneath these meadows slumbered the Earth Mother herself. After decades of endeavouring to awaken her, Tauren shamans finally succeeded, only to realise with horror that their efforts had roused not the benevolent Earth Mother, but the colossal Earth Elemental, Princess Theridrus, daughter of Therizane, the Stone Mother. Utilising the verdant surroundings for sustenance, Theridrus absorbed energy from the life across the lands to replenish her weakened form. Thus, the once fertile and sacred land of Masha-an-Shi was transformed and renamed to Desolus. The catastrophic loss of life reverberated throughout Azeroth and even into the Emerald Dream. Zeta, son of the Forest Lord Cenarius, journeyed to Desolus to investigate. However, instead of imprisoning Theridrus as planned, Zeta fell in love with her. Their union gave birth to the Centaur, resulting in a tragic cycle of conflict. After slaying their own father, the Centaur multiplied rapidly, driving the native Tauren from Desolus and sparking a prolonged period of darkness and strife for the Tauren race. Despite this, continuing on with their nomadic settlements across the lands, the lives of the Tauren shifted with the seasons, yet they remained united by a common hostility toward the marauding Centaur. Despite enduring relentless attacks, the Tauren stayed true and they despised war, but they did meet aggression with resilience. Each year brought either a year of peace or a year of conflict, and the Tauren embraced this cyclical existence as the only life they knew. For the Tauren, this way of life persisted until the era of the Third War. While conflicts ravaged the Eastern Kingdoms, the tranquil plains of Kalimdor shielded the Tauren from the turmoil. However, their isolation ended with the arrival of the Horde upon Kalimdor's shores during the Third War, thrusting the Tauren into the modern way of life that we are all used to today. Our narrative now shifts to one of the most revered leaders among the Tauren, Cairne Bloodhoof. As chieftain of the Bloodhoof tribe, Cairne epitomized strength and leadership. Despite the weight of age slowing his stride, Cairne remained resolute in his commitment to safeguard his ancient people from the relentless Centaur Threat. He harboured a steadfast hope of leading his tribe to a new homeland where they could thrive in peace. Cairne's outlook shifted when he encountered Thrall, the young war chief of the emerging Orcish Horde. Witnessing Thrall's valour in battle against the Centaurs, Cairne was intrigued by the Horde's blend of nobility and ferocity. Thrall's quest for destiny resonated deeply with Cairne, prompting him to guide the Horde northward, helping them with their quest of finding an oracle. In exchange for revealing the oracle's location, Thrall pledged to safeguard the Tauren caravan's journey to the tranquil plains of Mulgore. Together, crossing the land, they successfully evaded and defeated the attacking Centaurs, reaching the safety of Mulgore. Cairne then directed Thrall to the oracle's location within Stone Talon Peak before they parted ways. This encounter marked a pivotal moment in the Third War. Leading Thrall and the Horde to meet the Guardian Medivh in the Stone Talon Mountain caverns was a turning point, signalling the beginning of the conflict's end. If you want to find out more about the story from the Stone Talon Mountains, you can refer to our dedicated tale on the peaks via the safe portal provided in the description below. After centuries without a homeland, the Tauren finally had a territory to call their own. Atop the windswept mesa of Thunder Bluff, Cairne built a sanctuary for his people, welcoming Tauren from all tribes. Cairne's son Baine accompanied his father and the Tauren when they settled in Mulgore. As time passed, the disparate Tauren factions rallied under Cairne's leadership. While some tribes still held differing views on the nation's trajectory, most of them acknowledged Cairne as their wisest and most capable guide towards shared future. But this newfound era of peace and tranquility did face its fair share of challenges. Cairne acknowledged that the nomadic customs ingrained in Tauren society actually posed a threat to their survival. With their numbers relatively small and their wandering way of life, they remained susceptible to assaults from the Centaur, Quillboar, and various other races. His visions would come true when a band of Centaur, led by Kirag, attacked the Tauren village, capturing his son Baine and imprisoning him in their encampment. This event plunged Cairne into a state of despair, rendering him unable to lead and leaving the Tauren vulnerable for further attacks by the Centaur. When Rexxar, one of the Horde's esteemed champions, and his companions arrived in Mulgore seeking Cairne's aid against the invading Kultirans, Cairne expressed his inability to assist, citing that his spirit had been broken. It was then that Cairne's faithful second-in-command, Tagar Bloodhoof, urged Rexxar to seek out Boven Windtotem and his outcasts to help locate Baine. With the assistance of the outcasts, Rexxar located Kirag's camp, eliminated the Centaur Threat, rescued Baine, and returned him to his father's embrace in Thunder Bluff. Cairne's joy knew no bounds, as he thanked Rexxar for breathing new life into him and pledged his forces to join the battle against the Kultirans. Sometime later, in the 25th year after the opening of the Dark Portal, the peaceful settlement that Cairne had provided for the Tauren race began to lead to an increase in the Tauren population across the region, with thousands of young Taurens starting their journey in Mulgore. Though the noble Tauren were peaceful in nature, the rites of the Great Hunt were venerated as the heart of their spiritual culture. Every Tauren, warrior or otherwise, sought identity both as a hunter and as a child of the Earth Mother. Tauren who reached the age of maturity travelled to Camp Narash, where Chief Hawkwind would send the new adventurers on quests to test their skills and prove themselves in the wilds of the Red Cloud Mesa, the name for the rolling plains atop the high cliffs in southern Mulgore. This newfound lease of life resulted in the expansion of the settlement of Thunder Bluff into the grand city many Horde adventurers had seen with their own eyes. The Tauren had established the city as the centre for trade caravans, travelling artisans, and inventors of every kind. The proud city also stood as a refuge for the many hunters who stalked their dangerous prey through the barrens and its surrounding areas. Long bridges of wood and rope spanned the chasms between the mesas, and each mesa topped with tents, longhouses, carefully painted totems, and spirit lodges. The mighty chief Cairne Bloodhoof presided over the bustling city, ensuring that the united Tauren tribes lived in peace and security. This period of tranquility and safety was soon disrupted by the arrival of the small green troublemakers, the Goblins. Several years after establishing themselves in Kalimdor, the Goblins expanded their control over the region. Some Goblins came together to create the Venture Company, a formidable Goblin-run cartel notorious for exploiting Azeroth's natural resources. Affiliated with the Trade Coalition, this company extends its operations to various corners of Azeroth. On Kalimdor, they are active in regions like the Stone Talon Mountains, the Barrens, and notably of course, Mulgore. The Goblins demonstrated remarkable skill in logging, with Mulgore drawing particular interest to them due to its numerous water wells. They swiftly took control of 3 wells in the region: the Thunderhorn water well, the Wildmane water well, and the Winterhoof water well. This sparked outrage among the Tauren upon discovering that their sacred water sources were being exploited by the Goblin menace. Responding swiftly, Tauren forces were dispatched to confront the Goblins, whose size disadvantage led to their quick retreat from the area. The Venture Company Goblins were not the sole outsiders drawn to the tranquil plains of Mulgore. A scouting contingent of Gallic Centaur were also spotted roaming the area. This came as a surprise, as the Gallic Centaur were not native to Mulgore but hailed from the Thousand Needles instead. Alongside the Goblins and the Tauren's sworn enemies, the Centaur, an unlikely group of individuals also sought to benefit from Mulgore's resources. The Dwarves of Baal Modan, situated in the southern reaches of the Barrens, also took an interest in Mulgore. These dwarves were in central Kalimdor, excavating an ancient Titan complex and research facility beneath Baal Modan. It is likely that numerous relics and much knowledge lie deep beneath the surface. In a bid for expansion, these dwarves dispatched small contingents to the neighbouring region of Mulgore, establishing the Baaldun dig site to unearth the area's secrets as part of their lifelong quest for historical knowledge. Just as they confronted the Venture Company Goblins, the Tauren faced the challenge posed by these new invaders. Viewing it as a disrespect to the Earth Mother, Baine warned the dwarves that they were disturbing the earth spirits in the lands of Mulgore. The dwarves did not listen to this warning. The Bloodhoof tribe spearheaded efforts to expel these intruders, resorting to confiscating and destroying their pickaxes when diplomatic negotiations faltered. Concurrently, the Tauren coordinated with Horde operatives to engage with the Harpies, Quillboar, and Gnolls also inhabiting the Red Cloud Mesa. Despite their utmost respect for the Earth Mother and the lands they lived off, the Tauren tribes often feuded and warred among themselves, vying for control of the united Tauren tribes. The most significant feud arose between the Bloodhoof tribe and the Grimtotem tribe, spearheaded by the Grimtotem matriarch, Magatha Grimtotem. The elder crone and the matriarch of the once mighty Grimtotem tribe was a powerful shaman and cunning leader. She emerged as the chief rival to High Chieftain Cairne Bloodhoof for the leadership for all Tauren. Unable to oust Cairne through political means, Magatha resorted to treachery. The Grimtotems believed that Magatha would lead them in eradicating the lesser races from Kalimdor and the reclamation of the ancestral Tauren lands. Constantly disagreeing with Cairne's leadership and the direction of the Tauren's future, Magatha felt that she was the only one fit to rule her people. In a tale that has been recounted elsewhere, Rhaegar Earthfury was a successful gladiator slave master who owned Logosh, known to us as the Lost King of Stormwind, Varian Rin, during his bout of amnesia. Logosh fought in gladiator tournaments alongside Valeria Sanguinar and Broll Baremantle. The amnesiac human eventually led Rhaegar's team to victory in a Crimson Ring tournament at Dire Maul, earning Rhaegar a substantial fortune in gambling winnings. Following the tournament, Rhaegar took his team to Thunder Bluff to find a Tauren gladiator to replace Valeria Sanguinar, whom he had sold to another gladiator master. On their journey, the human, dubbed Logosh by spectators at Dire Maul, a name which had stuck, and his teammate, Broll Baremantle, requested to visit the Pools of Vision in Thunder Bluff. They hoped to find answers through a ritual there. Logosh sought to recover his lost memories, while Broll hoped to communicate with the spirit of his deceased daughter. Rhaegar granted their request, and as they set off for the Pools of Vision, he went to visit his friend, Archdruid Hamul Runetotem. Magatha approached Rhaegar, suggesting several young Tauren who would be strong candidates for his battle training, including her own granddaughter and several grandnephews. While Rhaegar considered this proposal, Broll and Logosh went to bathe in the pools. It was here they were attacked by a large cave elemental summoned by Magatha, but Logosh emerged victorious, and the pools helped him recall some of his lost memories. In an attempt to discredit Cairne, who had been hesitant to disturb the elemental without understanding its motives, Magatha praised Rhaegar's champions for achieving what the Great Cairne could not. Many years later, after the conflict with the Lich King, Thrall relinquished his position as war chief of the Horde, and Garrosh Hellscream succeeded him. Hellscream had been accused of orchestrating the murder of innocent druids, a deed actually carried out by orcs loyal to the nihilistic Twilight's Hammer sect. Enraged by these killings, Cairne challenged Garrosh for leadership, and with the aid of Magatha Grimtotem's manipulations, Garrosh emerged victorious, resulting in Cairne's demise. Following Cairne's death, Magatha orchestrated the infiltration of Bloodhoof village and seized control of Thunder Bluff for the Grimtotem tribe. The Grimtotem tribe's assassins infiltrated Thunder Bluff, targeting skilled weapon masters, powerful druids, and shamans. Their assault focused on the Spirit Rise, where members of the Skychaser clan were ruthlessly slaughtered. With the support of the Forsaken below, who aligned with the Grimtotem tribe, the attackers also targeted the Hunters on the Hunter's Rise and other individuals capable of wielding arms. By doing so, they instilled fear among the remaining Tauren. However, the Grimtotem's reign was short-lived. Through the combined efforts of Jevon Grimtotem and Jaina Proudmoore, Baine rallied an army and acquired the necessary weaponry to confront the Grimtotem within Thunder Bluff. In a decisive counterattack orchestrated by Baine, utilizing a fleet of zeppelins to strategically divide Magatha's forces, Thunder Bluff was retaken, and Baine assumed his rightful position as chieftain of the Tauren. With stability restored, Thunder Bluff once again stands as a beacon of peace and security for Kalimdor's Tauren. Magatha and her followers were exiled, banished across the land, while Jevon, now leader of the remaining Grimtotem who did not partake in this attack, pledged the tribe's allegiance to the Horde, and they were allowed to continue to reside within Thunder Bluff. After inheriting his father's former role, the true heir to the Tauren throne, Baine Bloodhoof, resumed his peaceful reign. Shortly prior to the events of the Cataclysm, The Bilgewater goblins aligned themselves with the Horde's forces throughout Azeroth. Following Baine's assumption of the role of the High Chieftain of the Tauren, his already frosty relationship with War Chief Garrosh Hellscream deteriorated further. Despite Cairne Bloodhoof's death at Garrosh's hands, Baine had opted not to seek revenge, prioritizing a unified leadership within the Horde. Understanding the need for a strong leader to ensure the Horde's survival, Baine believed Garrosh could provide inspiration to his people. However, tensions rose as Garrosh began making increasing demands on the Tauren people. One such demand was access to Mulgore's untainted sacred water supplies, as the Horde's new goblin allies had polluted much of the water near Orgrimmar with their industrial activities in Azshara. Baine was hesitant to grant Garrosh's request, and Archdruid Hamul Runetotem was even more opposed. After a contentious discussion, Baine reluctantly agreed to the demand on the condition that a Tauren representative would oversee the goblins' operations going forward. After the resurgence of Deathwing the Destroyer and the ensuing cataclysm, tensions between the Alliance and the Horde heightened, particularly in the southern central regions of Kalimdor. In a bid to bolster their offensive against the Horde, the Alliance launched an assault on a Tauren encampment in the southern barrens known as Camp Terrario. The attack originated from Northwatch Hold, spurred by false intelligence suggesting an impending Tauren assault. The resulting destruction, termed a massacre by the Tauren, occurred after the Alliance ensured the evacuation of civilians under the command of General Hawthorne. Despite efforts to minimize casualties, some individuals perished while attempting to flee. Baine Bloodhoof acknowledged the camp as a legitimate military target and commended Hawthorne's decision to spare civilians. Nevertheless, dissent within the Alliance High Command arose, with some advocating for more aggressive tactics such as hostage taking. Subsequently, the camp was subjected to firebombing by Wildhammer Griffin Rider mercenaries, leading to its destruction. Alliance forces seized weaponry and dismantled smithing facilities, dealing a significant blow to their adversaries and disrupting the Horde operations. The Tauren military refrained from retaliation until assurances were made for the safety and the evacuation of civilians from the camp. Survivors, along with refugees from Honor's Stand, sought sanctuary at Camp Unify in the Overgrowth. However, the evacuation was fraught with peril as many fell to the hostile bristleback Quillboar. Following the Alliance attack, the route from the Barrens to Mulgore was barricaded by the Tauren. They constructed the Great Gate to ward off potential Alliance incursions into their peaceful territory. Although the Great Gate faced attacks from Alliance siege engines and soldiers, it was successfully defended by the combined forces of Orcs and Tauren stationed at Vendetta Point. In the aftermath of the Cataclysm, the dwarves of Baeldun Digsite met their demise at the hands of agitated earth spirits, validating Baine's prior warning. Following Armo Thunderhorn's guidance, Horde agents were dispatched to pacify the spirits using a magical drum. The recent cataclysm brought significant alterations to the Red Cloud Mesa, which endured substantial damage as it came under siege from the bristleback Quillboar, who expanded their territory from the Brambleblade Ravine. Garrosh Hellscream and Baine Bloodhoof, both now leaders of their respective people, spearheaded the invasion to eradicate the local Quillboar. Additionally, numerous bristleback Quillboars abandoned their traditional habitat to assist in seizing new territory from the Tauren in a location called the Thornsnarl. At the same time, Grimtotem rebels, unwilling to pledge allegiance to Jevon Grimtotem and Baine Bloodhoof, took over and poisoned the sacred water wells in the region. In response, young Tauren were asked to help push back the bristleback Quillboar, while the Tauren accepted aid from all Horde members in dealing with the Grimtotem and other threats to the area. Despite often escaping the devastation of wars across Azeroth over the years, Thunder Bluff fell prey to the Burning Legion. During the Burning Legion's third invasion of Azeroth, Thunder Bluff was targeted by Infernals. Fortunately, they were defeated, and the city stood strong as the capital city for the Tauren and a base for all Horde members. During the Battle for Azeroth, a contingent of the Venture Company goblins returned to Mulgore with considerable force, targeting the belongings of Sheza Wildmane, a Tauren who operated the Elder Rise drum shop in Thunder Bluff. With resources acquired from this raid, or from selling the stolen goods, the Venture Company goblins established a camp in Mulgore once again, this time just east of Thunder Bluff. And around the same period, Thunder Bluff hosted a feast for the High Mountain Tauren from High Mountain on the Broken Shore. The entire city celebrated the discovery of a long-lost Tauren tribe with fireworks until it came under attack by minions of the Old Gods, who sensed the presence of Spirit Walker Ebonhorn, the uncorrupted son of Deathwing himself. The Old God forces attempted to corrupt the aspect of the Black Dragonflight and trapped the city's civilians with void power, rendering them unresponsive. Horde adventurers, along with Baine Bloodhoof, his personal guards, and the city guards, defended Thunder Bluff, defeating the void minions and saving the city. During this period, Sylvanas Windrunner gradually converted the Underhold, a massive underground compound deep below Orgrimmar, accessed through an elevator within Ragefire Chasm, into a military installation. She used it to train her elite soldiers and manufacture Azerite weapons. Baine Bloodhoof was captured and imprisoned in the Underhold Nexus. In a story for another time, Baine was later rescued by Thrall and Jaina Proudmoore, who feared Sylvanas Windrunner would lay waste to Thunder Bluff as she did to Teldrassil. Thunder Bluff citizens supported Varrock Saurfang in his rebellion against Sylvanas. Although Baine's injuries prevented him from joining Saurfang's march to Orgrimmar, G. Firepaw, Acer Cloudsinger, Maela High Mountain, and their forces reinforced the city's defences just in case Sylvanas launched a counterattack. During the conflict, Saurfang challenged Sylvanas to a Mac Goa, resulting in his death, and Sylvanas' abandonment of the Horde. A stunned Lord Thamar ordered champions to inform Baine of the events. With Thunder Bluff no longer threatened by Sylvanas' forces, the reinforcements departed the city as Baine, G, and Maela travelled to Orgrimmar to attend to Varrock Saurfang's funeral. Following the Fourth War, Zikarn conveyed that the Tauren residing in Mulgore continued to encounter numerous challenges within the region. These included the presence of the Venture Company to the east, null threats looming from the west, and the menace of the Grimtotem tribe, who persistently targeted the Tauren, particularly focusing on the water resources of Thunder Bluff. The concluding chapter of Thunder Bluff's lore unfolds during the period known as Death Rising. The city faced a brutal assault from the Moorsworn, minions serving Zoval the Jailer in the moor within the Shadowlands. These ruthless invaders laid waste to the tranquil streets and captured Baine Bloodhoof. Imprisoned by the Moorsworn, Baine faced judgment by the Jailer, where his spirit suffered wounds deemed unworthy by the Eternal One. As a consequence, Baine was cast off a platform by the Jailer's decree. However, a timely rescue effort led by Thrall, Anduin Wrynn, Jaina Proudmoore, and Azeroth's champions managed to mend Baine's spirit and save him from further peril. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting its golden hues upon the rolling plains of Mulgore, we bid farewell to the tales of this land, rich with history and laden with the echoes of ancient spirits. From the tranquil mesas of Thunder Bluff to the untamed wilderness that stretches beyond, each blade of grass whispers a story of resilience, unity, and the enduring spirit of the Tauren. But as we part ways with this sacred realm, let us carry with us the lessons learned from its legends. Let us remember the bravery of Cairne Bloodhoof, the wisdom of Baine, and the unyielding strength of Thunder Bluff, standing tall against the trials of time and the darkness that sought to engulf it. As the winds of change sweep across Azeroth, may the spirit of Mulgore and Thunder Bluff serve as a beacon of hope, reminding us that even in the face of adversity, unity and compassion shall always prevail. So let us cherish the memories we've shared, and may the bonds forged in the heart of this land endure for eternity. Until we meet again, may the Earth Mother watch over you, and may the winds carry you safely on your journey. Farewell, dear friends, until next time, where we gather to uncover the mysteries and marvels of Azeroth.